So often our parts get the idea that we need to do certain things or get certain things before we can experience these core states. And that just doesn't work out very well going about it in that way. And so this is a process um, to lead us in experience to that truth rather than just having a mental understanding, which we know doesn't usually do a whole lot. It can be a start, but it doesn't necessarily transform our... So, yeah, so a lot of our behavior is generated through our unconscious. It's automatic. No matter what we think about it, it's happening automatically. And so this is a process that allows us to access these unconscious parts to then get the transformation where it's really needed to be long-term.
Happening, rapists, killers, whatever. Where is the positive intention in that? How is that happening? How is that positive?
Yeah, so again, those are examples, and those extreme examples are examples where the result may not be positive at all.
Yeah.
But that person is trying to meet some need or something. It may not be for the other person, but something for themselves. Mm-hmm. So it may be that the positive intent is purely self-motivated, but it's still that person trying to get something for themselves. So pretty kind of amazing that something as mundane as not taking breaks can lead to something so profound. And yet, I've done this process hundreds and hundreds of times over the last decade, and it always leads somewhere like that. And so then the beautiful thing at this point is then letting this part know that now that it's experiencing this core state of love that is just a way of being, inviting this part to realize that actually none of that other stuff needs to happen first. Mm-hmm. So some of it may still be important, some of it may not be important, but none of it, even if it's really important, none of it has to happen first.
So you can directly be in that state of love without having to work and then be in a place that you can feel the love.
Exactly. There's no rule of the universe that says I have to complete my book first before I can experience love as a way of being. Psychologists will say that most of our emotional patterns, thought patterns, behavior patterns are formed between the ages of 0 to 7. Yeah. Some are later, but most of it is formed at that early age. And so this process also includes a way to access that early age and invite, often people have an experience of this when they're in a non-resourceful state, like an anger outburst or whatever.
Sometime when I was talking to people about parts, I often get this question like, do you mean I have multiple personalities? How do you draw the line between parts and, something which is, let's say, more of a problem, let's say, like a pathological way of looking at parts?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'm not by any means an expert at all in like multiple personality disorder or what that even means. I think that even as a diagnosis is problematic. But I think when people do have diagnoses like that, it's basically, in my guess about it is that it's basically just an extreme version of what we all actually have on the inside. That we do all have this experience. Everyone can relate to this experience of like a part of me this, a part of me that, or on the one hand this, but on the other hand this, or people who say, oh, I'm conflicted inside, or this is language that we've all used. So really it's just a process that it's a model that just matches what our experience already is and then leads to something that's more useful.